Standing posture. Probably one of the most important things you can do is to change your sitting and standing posture to get out of pain. Listen, the body follows the path of least resistance. That's its mandate. The brain, the body is designed to save energy, even when it's at the expense of your joints, your discs, your tissue, even when it ultimately causes you to hurt. We need to change that path of least resistance. We need to rewire ideal alignment. The body was meant to have joints stacked on top of one another in parallel lines. It was meant for the ribs to be over the pelvis, not side to the side, not shifted forward, not back. There's an ideal alignment that supports the positioning and the function in the cartilage of your joints. It supports and prevents wear and tear. It prevents breakdown. It prevents, remember in other videos, the laying down of more bone or progression of osteoarthritis. Remember Wolff's Law, when bone is stressed abnormally, it grows new bone. So we need to idealize our alignment, our posture, to stop the breakdown of the tissue. Now, that being said, some of you are going to have natural genetic compensations. Perhaps you have a leg length, or you are an athlete and one muscle group is much shorter than the other, and it's going to move bones in a particular way. So this exercise is kind of designed to bypass that, to override those compensations and just get you that much closer to ideal positioning for your joints, discs, ligaments, tendons, and muscles. So let's get to it. We are going to start with the foundation of our building, the feet. And you know, if a foundation of a building was, say, collapsed on one side, wouldn't it also collapse or tilt or side bend the first level, second level, third, fourth, fifth levels of that building? Yes. So the foundation is really important. So we're going to spend a little extra time on this foundation, which is your feet. And we're going to start by idealizing the feet position, bringing them hip width or shoulder width apart. So to do that, you can take your hands and find the bumps on the front of your pelvis. You can kind of roll kind of off of the ASIS, the bumps in the pelvis. And you can put the outside of your hand on that point down, and that's about how wide hip width apart is. On top of that, we want the feet to be facing forward like they're in train tracks, and even from right to left. So look down. If one of your feet is even just slightly in front of the other, that's indicating a pelvic rotation. So we're going to cheat asymmetries in our bodies, cheat those rotations by lining up our feet. That may help. Next, a lot of you like to stand. I keep looking down as if you're looking down at my feet with me. I hope you are. A lot of you like to stand with your feet turned out. And some people stand evenly turned out, but some stand only with one foot turned out. A lot of you do, which is even, it's worse. It creates even more asymmetries and rotations through the spine, more wear and tear. So again, I'm going to ask you, and it's going to be uncomfortable when you bring your feet to face forward and you're used to them being turned out, and you bring them to parallel. It feels pigeon-toed, doesn't it? It feels like you're toed in, but you're not. Look down, they're straight. Good. And it will just take a few weeks of practice to override that sensation of feeling toed in. So the more you just put your feet parallel, this will become the new norm and feel normal to you. So feet are hip width apart, parallel, like in train tracks, facing forward, even from right to left. Great. Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to spend a little extra time on the foundation. I'd like you to shift to the front of your foot slightly. I'd like you to shift to the back, to your heels more. And now I'd like you to find even between the ball of the foot and the heels. And that's where we want to be. A lot of people are shifted on the front balls of the feet. We want to be even through the heels and the front of the foot. And equally, I'd like to even take it a step further, become aware of the base of your big toe and the outside, your pinky fifth toe. Be even in your pressure, in your weight bearing from the first toe across to the fifth, from your inner heel to your outer heel. So now we have 4 points that we're also trying to distribute the weight evenly in both feet. Great. So a lot of time on the feet because they are our foundation. Now let's move up the chain. So for this, I'm going to get my feet even so that you can see the side view. And ideal pelvic alignment is a slight anterior pelvic tilt of 6 to 8 degrees. What does that mean? Well, let me start by telling you what it's not. It's not this. Most people rest on their ligaments and their tailbone tucks slightly underneath them and the thighs are slightly forward. That's a posterior pelvic tilt, and it creates huge compressive forces for your lumbar spine. So how are we going to know what neutral is? Well, some people tell you to roll your pelvis as far forward as you can and then roll back as far as you can and find the middle part. That is one way. I'm going to have you do this. Try this. You've got your feet hip width apart, parallel facing forward. Take your fingertips to the top of your thighs around where your pockets are. And then push the top of the thighs slightly back so that it's directly over your heels. It's going to feel like you're sticking your butt out a little bit. Then take your torso and bring it up on top of that. So that usually is a cheat to create that anterior neutral pelvis. So again, we don't want to be shifted forward. And if you could see the line of my pants, it would be doing this. So look down at your pants. You want the line on the side of the pants to be straight, not forward. 80% of people have that tuck and forward positioning. So fingers to the top of the pockets, top of your thighs, push the top of the thighs back, bring your rib cage on top of the pelvis, and really just doing that, you're really 80% there. So we have that slight anterior pelvic neutral pelvis positioning by bringing the top of the thighs slightly back and bringing my torso on top of that. Great. Let's continue. I'd like you to now invite your shoulders to move away from one another towards opposite sides of the room. Excellent. Imagine your right shoulder blade moving down and in towards your left back pocket. Imagine your left shoulder blade moving down and in towards your right back pocket. So the shoulder blades are moving down and in as the spine lengthens. I'd like you to think of becoming tall. Remember, keep the thighs slightly back, torso, rib cage on top of that, lengthen up. For some of you, this image might work. Imagine you have a zipper from your pelvic bone all the way up to the crown of your head. We are going to zip you up, zip you long. So to do that, keeping the top of the thighs back, just draw the belly button slightly in towards the back of the spine and up. It's like a little slight inward scoop. if I was going to come up to you in your room, wherever you're watching this, and poke the belly, poke your lower belly, what would your natural inclination be? It would be to kind of pull away from me. We don't like our bellies touched, do we? So it's this slight in and up. It's not sucking in, okay? Because this has to be held all the time. It has to be comfortable. But by having that thought of drawing just so slightly the belly button in thinking length, that engages your core. It's that simple. Great. So let's kind of refresh. The feet are facing forward, even, hip width apart. You take the top of the thighs, you draw them back over the heels, take your torso on top of that. Zip your posture up, belly button in and slightly up, spine lengthen, shoulders move away from one another towards opposite sides of the room. Shoulder blades are soft, resting down into the opposite back pockets. How are we doing? Great. Keep there. Release the neck so that the head can move slightly forward and up. This will allow the neutral position of the neck, which is the chin is parallel with the ground. So watch this. So many people, when they're in their collapsed position, have their chin slightly up. Actually, it's like, I think that's it. Yeah. But definitely it's angled up. So thighs back, boom, boom. And then as the neck releases, at the first level of your neck happens here around the ear hole. And we want to imagine that just beginning almost like a little bow. So it's just the beginning of a bow. It's a slight tuck. It's not tucked. It's at the ear, saying yes, nod yes. Let the head drift up from there. Shoulders move away. Good. So where were we? We were at the neck releasing and the head moving forward and up so that that chin is parallel with the ground. Shoulders are soft. Relax the top of your shoulders, but keep inviting them to move away from one another. Keep inviting those shoulder blades into those opposite back pockets, but be soft. Really what's working the most is you're slightly aware of your core working in your legs, and then your shoulders are how soft can you be. That's it. Well done. It's a long version, I know. I have a follow-up video with the cheat sheet, the short version, the down and dirty, however you want to call it. I ask that you also print out the written words of this exercise and memorize them, because there is a lot to think about. The ins and the ups and the pelvic tilt and neutral and the feet. So the more you read the directions, because some of you are much more visual learners, in those that language will help you get it really into your cells, so that every time you're standing in the post office, every time you're waiting in the grocery store, you're waiting to pick up your kids, we do one of three things in our life. We're either lying down, sitting, or standing. So you have so much opportunity to practice this change of alignment, restore ideal mechanics through your joints, take away the strain patterns, and begin healing your body today. All right, good luck.